Welcome to the Devourment AE install video. We've got quite a bit of work to do, but let me reassure you right off. This is going to be easy peasy to install. I'm not knocking the SE build. There's simply a fantastic system in place this time. You'll see. That being said, let's get some disclaimers out of the way. First and foremost, this is a Vor mod. If you don't know what that is, I'd say go do something else. If you're unable to download any of the required mods, there's probably a good reason. In that case, I'd also say go do something else. After all, you are installing this mod of your own free will. I didn't Borg style assimilate you, add you to my purple coloured hive mind, and force you to do this. This will only be for Vortex. I know, I wasn't a fan of it in the past, but now I have a reason to be. Collections. You'll see soon enough. For people like me using Nexus Mod Manager or Mod Organizer 2, I'd simply say manually install the mods in the order shown in the collection. It's more of a kind of a veteran modder thing to do. Novice modders, I would infinitely recommend you stick with the Vortex. Or even just, if you don't want the hassle of figuring things out, just stick with Vortex. You'll see. Now then, this mod and Skyrim AE may update in the future. I sure hope this will be the last letter-changing update to Skyrim, because it leaves certain mods in the past. And yeah. This mod might also get some new features, possibly new requirements, and the HUD or MCM menu might change too. If needed, I'll make another install video. If the install process changes significantly enough. That being said, this mod does make some pretty big changes to your Skyrim, as it also installs a framework of other useful to have mods. If you value your current Skyrim install, I would recommend a backup or starting fresh with a copy of Skyrim. Speaking of fresh copy of Skyrim, you know what time it is. Curious little anomaly. You're like a little light bulb going on and off, but each time you keep turning back on. I could use someone like you. I'd like to invite you to my faction. Become my agent, and you'll get a comfy set of black and white... Wait, what's that? Oh, come on, Nora. So, welcome to the meat of this installation. We're going to start off right from the very get-go. Vortex, step number 1. You want to download the latest current version and just get that bad boy installed. As long as you keep your computer up to date, you shouldn't have to worry about that net framework. But yeah, one of the reasons Vortex is so fantastic is going to be this area right here. The collection system. You'll see why it's so amazing, but whilst this even downloads here, once we get Vortex all set up, you quite literally click Add to Vortex, and it goes, got it boss, and then it adds 47 of these mods. Now if we were doing this the old-fashioned way, you would quite literally need to individually download and install each of these one by one. Whereas with this system, you click a button, you click a few buttons, but you don't need to think as hard, and it pretty much takes care of everything else. So I'm using an Ethernet cable. It's much faster than Wi-Fi, so we have that all downloaded and installed. And yeah, we're going to do this thing. This mod is amazing, so if you enjoy it, hit endorse. So, we now have Vortex opened. As I said, it might need to ask you to log in a moment or when you go to add this collection. I wouldn't worry about these notifications right now. Essentially what we just need to do here is just click Add to Vortex whilst we have the program opened. It'll then grab the stuff that's needed and you hit install now. And essentially what happens here now is the wheels are in motion. If you're a premium, you literally just click premium and it'll do this all for you, completely automated. If you're like me, just a standard user, you still need to click download and then it'll open up a web page for the mod and you click slow download. It'll then take you back into Vortex and then load up the next mod. And essentially this is all you need to do. Just keep clicking download the next mod, slow download, and then just keep doing that. Now, I'm not going to bore you here, but this takes just a bit of time. So I might skip ahead, might skip to the end of it, but that's all you pretty much need to do now. Okay, so once all that's been installed and it all looks good, I would say give Vortex a quick little restart, just so it can be aware of all the changes. Probably not even necessary, but old habits die hard. Now, there's two things we need to do before we launch the game, just to make sure everything goes smoothly and there's no weirdness. You gotta launch Fnis. Tick these two boxes and then hit update Fnis behavior. I'm not gonna pretend to know the skeleton magic that goes behind this, but selecting gender specific animations, I guess male and female, there's different animations. I mean, I know there is. Skeleton arm fix, I believe it fixes a weirdness when you're blocking with a sword, you're casting a spell, or blocking with a shield. Sometimes your character won't even raise the arm. I don't even know why. And then update Fnis behavior. It loads custom animations, and I'm not going to pretend to know how that works. Once that's done, just close it and then hit bodyslide. Now pay attention to this step, because this one's a very important one. This is the difference between the belly appearing and then the belly not appearing at all. So you want to click this little magnifying icon, click choose groups, and you want to click this one, female morphs Trivu. There's a few others we'll click in just a moment, but that's the important one for now. Click OK with that. Make sure build morphs is ticked. I hear that's important, and I'm going to follow that instruction. And then you'll probably start at the bottom of the list. Scroll up to the top and then click on this one, Devourment AE 3BAV2. No idea what that means. Triple breasted bone AD2, I don't know. And then select your preset. This is going to be the shape of the female body, so I generally look, this is, you can experiment with this in your own time. This is to get it working. So yeah, I click CPPE curvy outfit. It basically makes things a little tight because your character's going to be in an outfit. And then you want to hit build batch. It's going to select all these, and if you didn't click the magnifying glass step, it would pick everything and it could make a mess. So make sure you do that and then click build. It's going to go 290 outfits. More or less, there might be a bit of weirdness there, so double check things, but 290 outfits is what I have, so you should have similar. If the mod had updates, it might be different. So with all that done, that's it done there. We have two other groups I want to select quickly. Uncheck this person, scroll down to creatures. This is to build the creatures' bellies. So select that, and then you pretty much just want to scroll up to the top and click Ash Hopper. Could be any of them. And then build batch. That gives them all a 0 belly, so when they eat someone it grows. And then one more. You know who I'm going to say sorry for selecting this one for. But yeah, we just want to do that just to give people the option there in case that's what you're after. Build batch on the male bodies, just so if they do eat someone, they get a belly as well. Once that's all said and done, close. Pat yourself on the back, baby, because we're about to rock. Yeah, feel free to die from cringe. Click launch, and fingers crossed. Now, if all goes well, we should be able to get through this scene here. Once we get to the main menu, we know things are looking good, but there's still plenty of time for something to go wrong. If your Skyrim crashed before getting to the main menu, you're going to have to double check your mods and see if there's some sort of incompatibility. Maybe an existing mod you have on is clashing somehow. But once you're here, things are looking good. I'm going to select, of course, Khajiit. Why would I not select Khajiit? I love these characters. These feline cat people make wonderful pets. So, yeah. Moving on before I get too droopy. We're in the game now. So, we're going to need to spawn ourselves a little character. Let's see who we can get. Oh, you're going to love this here. Player.placeatme 13BBF. You all ready for this? Oh, yeah. Of course.
Do you get to the Cloud District very often? Oh, what am I saying? Of course you do. Be careful!
Yeah. I interrupted you. So there's a dice roll mechanic to this. There's a chance they may or may not be swallowed. So instead, I'm just going to hit endo. Sorry. But look, feel free to explore this and test it in your own time. I just want to show you the very basic things. We'll go through this list in a moment here, but the one thing we're looking for right now is this button here. Endo anyone. Because if we're not friends with anyone, we can't just eat anyone. They don't trust you. You know, I don't know you. Well, why would you want to eat me? How do I know you're not going to just gurgle me? So, check endo anyone, and then you'll be able to, as it says, endo anyone. And then, ta-da! If your belly grew out, congratulations, you did the body slide step correctly. And this does mean we have this working now. And look at the little smile on their face. That's one happy kitty. Want to do a quick check of an option here? Yeah, I set prey dialogue key to G because I'm old school like that. You press G and you should be able to converse with the prey. I love it. These are some of my options. Yeah, yay, my dialogue. Can't tell you how chuffed I am. Okay, let's not
really am busy.
Yeah, you're busy being stuck in a Khajiit's gut. So yeah, look, that's that working now. I encourage you to explore the gameplay and kind of tide it yourself, but this is the part where the tutorial kind of ends, and I'm going to move on to the final section. Okay, time to put a nice little bow in this cake and wrap it all up. So, let's just quickly go through the mod configuration settings and give you a brief rundown on the important ones. I'm totally not going to wing this, and I totally didn't just say it all out and forget to hit record, because that would be funny. First area, stats and skill trees. All the settings here. This first part, that's just your counters of how many things you ate and how many things were absorbed by you. So yeah, if you like to keep tallies and then options on, or numbers on how many times you've been eaten. But yeah, numbers if you like keeping up with them. I do like to see just how many people I've eaten once I reach max level, because it's fun to see that. General settings, I just recommend setting prey dialogue key to G and then just leaving it at that. Feel like, as a baseline, feel free to experiment with these in your own time. I'm just going to go through the quick basic ones. So G is what you use to talk when you've got someone in your belly like I do here. You got skull collecting here. So basically what happens here is whenever an NPC is digested, they do drop their skull as an item. If you swallow the skull, you'll be able to basically reform them. So that's a really, really cool feature, honestly. It also means you can collect dragon skulls and things like that. So this is an option here. If you check this, the most common bandit will drop a skull and you can get like a bandit skull. Great if you want to start a massive pile. However, unique NPCs are just named NPCs. Yeah, see what it says there? Useful if you want to resurrect them for quests. But yeah. You have loads and loads of settings here. I'd say don't go near any of this unless you know what you're doing. But the important ones here are swallow heal. This is off by default. Basically, when someone swallows you, if it's off, it's not gonna reset your health. So it incentivizes you to weaken someone before eating them. However, it's a double-edged sword. The same will apply to you. So if someone hits you with a power attack and then swallows you, it reduces your odds of being able to struggle free. Endo anyone. You've seen that with Nazim. Once you enable that, you can basically endo safely swallow anyone. Otherwise, they need to be good friends or choose to trust you. Endo struggling. You've seen that with Nazim. He's struggling around in there despite the fact it's endo. And yeah, there's another one there. Timeout escape once endo. So basically, people aren't going to stay inside their pred forever. Useful if, you know, it's an NPC that didn't endo. But yeah. This is an important setting here. Player system bias. If you set it to no preference, basically anyone can eat anyone. If you set it to player avoidant, it means you'll never be eaten by a pred unless you kind of ask. Player centric means you're the tastiest morsel in the entire room and all the preds are hungry. and you just look like cake dipped in sweet chocolate. So yeah, you'll be the only target of Vor if you're into that. You got important options down here. Essential NPCs can be digested off by default because that can break quests. You can accidentally, let's just say, gurgle Jarl Bolgrif the Greater, and then that just ruins the entire quest. So that's the general sentence there. Like I said, experiment with them in your own time, read what they say to get an understanding. This is whitelist, blacklist. It has a pretty universal meaning, but it's more of a list just to show you what's going on. This is where you can make important choices. So this is where you can select if you want certain races to be preds, certain genders, or certain creatures. So we're going to say disable creatures, that empties out that list, and then disable men. So with this selection, only females can be preds, because Vor is a female-only power. No, it's not. God, that's fun, but nah, we're going to enable them again. So with this, basically, you know, Spriggans can be preds. Visual effects, sound effects, and misc settings. More buttons and dials to select and choose. I generally say it's best to leave these default, but feel free to mess with them in your own time. So for example, pre-filled pred chance. You can walk into a town and you see a random pred with a big belly. That can be quite fun for world building. You know, just a casual Vor world. Dead prey digestion time. You have this a bigger number, it takes longer for your belly to shrink down. You have it a smaller number, it shrinks quicker. You have options here as well. Multi-prey mode. If you set that to unlimited, you can basically eat as many people as you want. However, if you set it to like limit by Vor skill, essentially once you get up enough pred levels, you can then eat an extra person. I think that's better because that's like progressive. You gotta work on the skill. Then you got options here. You can defecate the clothes and crouch and all that. Prey stripping, yeah, that's enabled. So when you swallow someone, their chest armor will be removed, and then you essentially vomit them up, or if they manage to escape, they'll be missing their chest piece. We have dragon and mammoth animations. That's exciting, very exciting. Cooldown time NPCs. This means every 6 seconds an NPC can make an attempt to swallow you. For creatures, it's lower because creatures are generally a lower level. And then here's a classic Vor trope here, right here. Burp items. You turn this up or down, basically there's a 20% chance that every time your character burps, they might burp up an item that the NPC had. So it can just be really funny when you swallow an NPC and you do that thing. You burp up the helmet or something they were carrying. And then there's that option there, if you're really not into hearing that kind of stuff. Yeah, you can disable it if you want. Morph settings. I generally just say this is fine, don't touch anything. It's like, you know, when you stack a bunch of Legos, but they're not connected, they're kind of just standing there and you kind of put your hands up and walk away from it. Do that with this. If you know what you're doing, feel free to experiment with it. The only one I'll highlight is Elimination Lotus. In the old Devourment, this is when your butt would basically grow big when you needed to, you know, release some items. This is off by default, so that won't happen. If you like having a big dump truck, tick that. Yeah. Debugging, I hope you don't need to go in here, but they're self-explanatory. If you want to give yourself all the skills and levels, there's the option. And dependencies. These should all look roughly the same unless something updates. And yeah, that covers the MCM menu. And then since I messed with some of the settings, it's just going to quickly regrow the belly. So that should cover everything in that area. So if you don't want to access the MCM menu, there's an alternate way of accessing most of the settings and features. It's in your lesser power called Devourment settings. Get that, cast it, and this menu will come up. So yeah, you can basically see the contents of your stomach. You can see Nazim. You can see his stats. You can see his equipment. What can we do with his equipment? Nah, I can't. We just click it. Default Lotus is your default location of where you want to stick your prey. So have fun with that. Perk. You can basically access the perks here. Now it's not going to be like the skill tree, but it's a way of basically unlocking perks without accessing that menu. Oh dear, we are slightly hungry. So yeah. Interesting. So that's what survival mode is. But yeah, you have your perk points. I'm sure it's a no-brainer, but pred perks make it easier to swallow people, keep them down, digest them and all that, get extra bonuses off them. Prey perks are basically to prevent that from happening, to struggle free, to harm the pred more when you're struggling, to basically get out alive. You have toggles if you want to do a couple of those. You have actions if you want to regurgitate and all that fun stuff, and then debug. So look, I would just say experiment with them in your own time. And that's pretty much it at this point. Yeah, so we have Devourment in Skyrim AE, and we got the latest version of it installed, and as you can see, it's all working fine. Nice. So thanks, and I hope that helps. Just a reminder, it is still being updated, so things might change. If it changes significantly enough, I'll make a new video. But from me to you, thank you, and goodbye for now. So hey, thanks for sticking around for the entire video. Let's do this as like a little bit of bonus, just to show off some of the good stuff. So let's just say you're wandering along and you've got your fun little fire spells in your hand, and then you see a mammoth and you decide it'd be amazing to set its tail on fire. Well, it turns out the consequences might be a bit more severe this time round. As it can now eat you. Now the important thing to know is WASD, you're gonna have to press them in like a pattern. Because if you don't, well, you can imagine what's gonna happen. Now let's see if we're gonna be lucky enough to climb out. And yes, it looks as though we were this time. It's not hostile with us anymore. So yeah, don't mess with mammoths, because they can do that to you, along with every other NPC in the game. So yeah, have fun with that and try not to be someone's meal. Or do, up to you.